Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'm going to be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget friendly, and delicious. So if you're looking for some weeknight meal ideas for your family, just keep watching. And I've also got a little extra in this week's video. I made a super quick and easy little treat for us for Mardi Gras. We did some mini king cakes. For dinner this first night, really didn't feel like making anything for dinner. We weren't super hungry, so we just kind of did a you're on your own yo-yo night, I call it. So here's what I put together. I asked Gary what sounded good to him, and he was like, do we have a chicken patties for a sandwich? And I was like, yep, we do. So I got the red bag chicken from Aldi, one of their brioche hamburger buns. I just cooked that up in the air fryer. I wasn't in the mood for a sandwich. Like I said, I wasn't super hungry, so I just ate some of the pasta salad that I'd made. I'd made it earlier that week, and I thought I filmed it. I know I did. I just must have accidentally deleted the footage. But this pasta salad, y'all, was so good. I just cooked up some pasta. I added some mini pepperoni, some mini bell peppers, cucumber, tomato, some cut up cheese. I added some black olives to Gary's. And I think that's all as far as, like goodie wise. And then I used some of the Olive Garden Italian dressing, as well as the Ken's creamy Italian dressing, and some of the McCormick Suddenly salad seasoning. This pasta salad, y'all, it was so stinking good. But yeah, that was our dinner that night. For dinner the next night, I made a chicken, asparagus, and Boursin Orzo pasta. It's kind of a mouthful. I will be showing how I made this entire meal. I also made some spinach puffs, a spring salad with radishes and sugar snap peas, and then a yummy spring dessert. I will be sharing how I made these recipes in an upcoming video, so keep an eye out for that, and I'll show you how I made all these recipes, and everything was delicious. For dinner the next night, I made Pollo Loco. Now, I have shared this before on my channel, probably a few times, honestly. I like to use the plain chickens recipe. I'm going to quickly walk you through this, but I'll have her recipe linked in the description box below for you. It's super easy. Her recipe originally called for the Baja Chipotle Lowry's marinade, but that started to get hard to find, and then they ended up discontinuing it. So then she suggested the mesquite marinade, and now I can't find that one either. So I pulled it up on Google and looked at the ingredients to the Lowry's Baja Chipotle marinade, and it was like almost exactly the same ingredients as this little packet of Chipotle pepper marinade from McCormick. Now, really the only difference that I could find between this and the Lowry's Baja Chipotle was the addition of lime juice. The back of this packet suggested adding it, and so I decided to do that. The only ingredients you need for this is that packet, the oil of your choice, and some water, and then like I said, the lime juice is optional. I just mixed that up, added it to a Ziploc bag with some chicken breast. You can marinate this for 15 or 20 minutes or so, but I did it overnight. You can cook up the chicken however you want, air fryer, grill, top of the stove. I baked it at 350 until it was done all the way through. I've got about a half a container of this queso dip, and then we are ready to assemble once that queso dip is heated up. The plain chicken's recipe for Pollo Loco comes with like a Mexican style rice, but you can use any kind that you want. You lay down the rice, add the chicken. I added some grilled onions and then some pico de gallo. Drizzle that queso over the chicken and rice, and really that's it. We like to serve it with some refried beans. This is so good. A lot of Mexican restaurants, American style Mexican restaurants, serve things similar to this, different names. I've seen it ACP, arroz con pollo, or crazy chicken, different names, whatever you want to call it. It is delicious, so good. The next day was Mardi Gras. We don't really do anything to celebrate Mardi Gras, but I will use any excuse I can to make something yummy and Cajun for dinner. And so I decided to do a crab stuffed tilapia with a creamy Cajun crawfish sauce. And I was trying to recreate a dish that I absolutely love. It's called catfish pontchartrain. I get it at a restaurant called Cajun Steamer. They've got several different locations. I'm not sure where all, but we normally go to the one in Franklin, Tennessee, right outside of Nashville. It is so good, but I don't know how they make it, so I just tried to recreate it the best I could. We're going to start out by making the crab stuffing. I'll link the recipe that I used in the description box below. In this bowl, I am going to add an egg. I gave that a really good mix. I'm adding in some finely diced bell pepper. I'm using red. I prefer red, orange, or yellow. Green's my least favorite, but use whatever you prefer or what you got on sale. Next, I'm going to add in some breadcrumbs. I had the Italian style, so we're just going to roll with that. I'm going to add in some mayo and then just a little bit of mustard. I use a little less mustard than the recipe called for. That's just personal preference. Now we're going to season this up with some paprika, garlic powder, a little bit of pepper and salt. And then I'm going to add in some fresh chopped parsley. If you don't have fresh, you can totally just use dried parsley. I'm going to give that a really, really good mix, and then we're going to add in our crab. You can, of course, use the nice expensive crab. I just grabbed this stuff in the can. I got the lump crab meat, so that's why I kind of mix everything except for the crab up, and I'm just gently folding in the crab. Once the crab has just been incorporated, I'm going to set that to the side. I don't want to overmix it. Now, like I said, the Cajun steamer has catfish pontchartrain, so obviously it's catfish, but I had tilapia in my freezer, so that's just what I'm going to use. I'm going to drizzle a little fresh lemon juice over the fish. And then to season this up, really, you can use whatever seasonings you want. I'm going to use some Slap Your Mama Cajun seasoning as well as a little Old Bay. I seasoned both sides of the fish. And then the recipe that I was taking inspiration from or kind of using for this said to make a slit in the fish and then take the stuffing and put it into the slit. These were so thin though, I couldn't really see a way to do that without making a mess and just causing me unnecessary stress and anxiety. So I was like, you know what? We're just going to put the crab meat stuffing on top of the fish. Hope it works. It worked just fine. It stuck. Everything turned out well in the end. So once I've got that stuffing laid on top of the fish, I added a little sprinkle of paprika. This went into a preheated oven at 350 degrees. It baked for 20 minutes, and then I did broil it for a couple of minutes just to get that stuffing on top a little golden brown. To serve over the fish, I'm doing a creamy Cajun crawfish sauce. In this skillet, I'm going to add a little bit of butter. This is the plant butter. I got it on sale. And, I haven't tried the butter like just by itself on toast or anything, but in this recipe, it worked just as well and tasted as good as regular butter, just in case you're interested. But once that butter's melted, the skillet is on medium heat. I'm going to add in some diced onion and red bell pepper. I'm going to give that a stir, and I cooked that for about 3 to 4 minutes until the veggies were tender. I'm then going to add in some minced garlic, give that a stir, cook it for about 30 seconds, and then I'm going to add in my heavy cream. Now, I simmered the heavy cream for about 3 to 5 minutes or so until it started to thicken. Now, to go along with the fish and the sauce, I'm going to do some cheese grits. These are the grits that I've got. I'm just going to cook these up according to the package instructions. I'm going to add a little pat of butter and then some of this cheese that I picked up at Kroger. Once that cream has started to thicken, it's time to season it up. Again, use whatever seasonings you want. I'm using some of that same Slap Your Mama. I'm going to give that a stir, and then it's time to add in the crawfish. This is frozen crawfish. I got this at Walmart. I did thaw it and then drain it, and make sure you drain it really, really well. They have a lot of water in there. I'm going to stir that in, add in some fresh chopped parsley, give that a final stir, give it a taste, adjust the seasonings to your taste, and then just warm it through for a couple minutes just for those crawfish to get nice and warm, and then that's it. That sauce is done. Here are those finished grits, and then to serve this up, I just laid down some of the cheese grits, laid down some of the crab stuffed tilapia, poured that creamy Cajun crawfish sauce on top, garnished it with a little bit of fresh parsley and some chopped green onions. Y'all, this was good. This was so good, and I was so happy that it turned out so close to the dish that I like to get at Cajun Steamer. It was so delicious. Yes, it was a lot of seafood, but as you saw, it can still be budget friendly. I used the canned lump crab. I used tilapia, which, is one of the cheapest fishes. And for the crawfish tails, if you can't find them at a good price, they're out of season, or, you just don't want to spend the money on it, I think like some of the salad shrimp, that is really inexpensive, and I think that would work perfectly in this sauce. You can also just completely leave any seafood out of that creamy sauce and just add that on top of the fish. But yeah, this was so good. I decided to make a quick and easy little treat for us for our Mardi Gras dinner. I made some mini king cakes, and I put king cakes in quotation marks because I don't want any of you native Gulf coasters yelling at me because these aren't legitimate or authentic king cakes. I know that. I didn't create this recipe. I saw it. I thought it sounded good. It was easy. So that's what I'm going to do. It has flavors similar to a king cake, but it is not an authentic king cake. But all we're going to do is take a can of cinnamon rolls, and you want to make sure you get the cinnamon rolls. I know Pillsbury tries to be sneaky and has one of the cans that is a biscuit. It's not a cinnamon roll. Make sure you get the cinnamon rolls. You're going to take 2 rolls, unroll them, and then you just want to twist them together, form them into a little circle, put them onto either a greased baking sheet, or in my case I used parchment paper, and just bake these according to your cinnamon roll directions. While those are baking, we're going to take the icing packet that came with the cinnamon rolls, add it to a bowl, and we're going to basically just, make additional glaze for it. All you have to do is add in some powdered sugar, and then you can use milk or half and half. I had the cream out making the sauce, so I just added a splash of the cream. Give that a really good mix, and then once those little mini king cakes are out of the oven, you want to drizzle that glaze on top. And then for Mardi Gras, this is totally optional, but I'm going to add some of the little sanding sugar in the purple, gold, and green colors. And then that's it. Aren't these cute? This was, they're cinnamon rolls, right? Can't go wrong with that. So good. I know in a lot of king cakes, people will do like a cream cheese filling. You could do the cream cheese cinnamon rolls, and, so you'd get that same cinnamon cream cheese flavor. I think that would be really good. And then, of course, you can be traditional and get one of the little babies and put it in there. Or you can also do like a dried bean or something like that. But I just kept it like this. Simple, quick, easy little treat. Dinner the next night was off a meal plan, but it was cold. It was windy as all get out. It was pouring rain, and I just wanted something comforting. So I decided to do some country fried steak. These are just the Tyson frozen ones. I cooked them up in the oven according to the package instructions. I made some gravy from scratch. I just used bacon grease as the fat, and then cooked up some canned biscuits. I did a quick version of Mandy and the makings green beans. I've shared that so many times before on my channel. I'll link that down below. Just instead of cooking up the bacon, I already had cooked bacon on hand, so I just added a little bacon grease and then added in the bacon pieces. And then I made some of the, what was this? This was the Great Value Deluxe boxed macaroni and cheese. Just cooked that up according to the package instructions, and yeah, that was our dinner that night. For dinner the next night, I tried a new recipe for a citrus hoisin cod. I'll have the recipe linked in the description box below for you. You can check that for the exact measurements. Here are the ingredients that we're going to use for the glaze. I've got hoisin sauce, honey, soy sauce. I prefer to use low sodium, minced garlic, minced ginger, orange juice, and then the recipe called for rice vinegar. I grabbed the wrong thing. I grabbed mirin, which is not the same, but it's fine. It turned out okay in the end. I'm going to mix that glaze up and then set it to the side. I've got the oven preheating to 400 degrees. On this sheet pan, I lined it with parchment paper. What I did was I seasoned my cod on both sides with a little bit of olive oil, salt, and pepper, and then I brushed that glaze on both sides. Now, I separated out some of the glaze so that I wasn't cross-contaminating. Once I brushed the glaze over, I added a slice of orange. You don't have to do that. I popped this into the preheated oven. I believe the recipe said to cook this for 18 to 20 minutes, but my pieces of cod were very thin. Mine only took about 10 or 11 minutes, and I did broil the cod pieces just for a minute or two at the very end. To go along with the cod, I tried another new recipe. It's basically a bok choy mushroom stir fry. Of course, the recipe will be linked down below. Check that for the exact measurements. I'm going to start out by making the sauce. I've got some black pepper, some sesame oil, oyster sauce, soy sauce, and some granulated sugar. Now, I differed from the recipe in cooking the bok choy because the recipe wanted you to leave the baby bok choy more whole, and I wanted it to be sliced up. So the recipe calls for you to essentially, blanch. Sorry, the word escaped me. Blanch the bok choy, but again, I wanted to slice it thin. So in this skillet, this is on medium-high heat. I've got some oil heating up. I'm going to add in that sliced bok choy and then add in some mushrooms. You can use whatever kind you want. I have these shiitake mushrooms that I need to use up. I did not add salt and pepper because I want the veggies to get brown. I cooked them for about 3 to 5 minutes until they were tender and brown. I'm adding in some sliced scallions or green onions, giving that a stir. Cook that for a couple minutes until they were tender. I'm adding in some minced garlic, as well as some minced ginger. You can absolutely, mince up your own garlic and ginger from fresh. I just like this stuff, in the tubes. It's more convenient, and I make sure I use it that way. I'm going to give that a stir, cook that for about 30 seconds or a minute, and then we're ready to add in the sauce. And the recipe called for, I think, like red chilies or something like that, which I, number one, didn't have, but number two, I wouldn't have used them anyway. Too hot for me. So instead, I just added a little Sambal Olek to give that spice. I'm adding in a cornstarch slurry. This is just cold water and cornstarch. Give that a mix, and you can see it instantly thickened up. And then that's kind of where the recipe ended, but we decided that we wanted to serve this with some momofuku noodles instead of rice. So I just cooked those up according to the package instructions. Added that to the stir fry, and then I had a little bit of that glaze from the cod left over, and I didn't want it to go to waste, so I just tossed it in with the stir fry, gave it a stir, and then that was ready. Here's what the noodle stir fry looked like, and a couple quick notes before I forget. One, I quickly said momofuku noodles in case you're like, Megan, what, did you have a fit? What is that? That's a name brand of ramen noodles. They're air fried instead of deep fried, but you could use any kind of noodle or pasta that you want, or you can just leave that out altogether. Like I said, that's not in the recipe. You could just serve this over rice. And then the second note is, because I knew that we were going to add noodles and toss that in, I doubled the sauce ingredients. So just keep that in mind. To serve this up, we've just got the cod and then that shiitake bok choy noodle stir fry. Garnish that with some green onions. This was really good. I enjoyed this, but Gary loved it. He really, really liked this. For the last dinner in this week's video, we just did leftovers. So for Gary, he was working late and I wanted to make him, something quick and easy that he could eat up at his desk. I took the Pollo Loco leftovers and just made him a quick burrito bowl. And then for me, we had a piece of the country fried steak left over with some of the gravy and mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese. I just warmed that up for myself. I warmed up the country fried steak in the air fryer so that it stayed crispy. And yeah, that was dinner that night. All right, that is it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you liked this video, that you got some dinner ideas to try from it. If you did like the video, hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.